All right, Shalom. Good GMS lesson come back at you. Before I do get into this lesson, I want to start by giving our honor, glory, and praises to the Heavenly Father and His only begotten Son, Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem, Rosh HaKadosh. Next up, double honor to my apostles and elders, great Nelson, who told me the 100% truth of the Bible and who will well. Peace, and salutations to all the brothers across the four corners of the earth, pushing this truth in all diligence and sincerity. You know, I just want to put together a Lord with an edifying lesson. You know, um, recompense is coming, right? Talking to who? Chiefly the so-called white man Esau, Edom, but to all the heathens, man, for what they have done against the chosen, the Lord's people, the chosen people of the Lord, which are the Israelites, the Hebrew Israelites, which consist of you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, man. So just bear with me. I'm outside at the plantation. It's a little windy, but Lord willing, this is edifying. We're gonna jump right into it. This is 2 Thessalonians chapter 1, verse 6. Seeing it is a righteous thing with the Most High to recompense tribulation to them that trouble you. That's right. So what? Everything that we about to read, everything that we about to go into through the Spirit, is okay with the Most High. It's signed off by the Most High, right? It is a righteous thing for these things that we're about to read to happen, right? Again, saying it is a righteous thing with the Most High to recompense tribulation to them that trouble you. As a matter of fact, let's get that. Let me see. Recompense real quick. Recompense. What does that mean? To give something to by way of compensation, right? Oh, to return in kind, right? Right? An equivalent or a return for something done, suffered, or given, right? So to return in kind, what are we about to return? We're about to return that cup of slavery, that cup of oppression, that cup of being ruled over. We're about to return that onto these heathens because they have done all those things to the children of Israel, right? So they're going to get that recompense. They're going to get that payback, right? Everything that they have done to us, they're going to get, man, especially Esau, Edom, man, right? To pay for. You got to pay for that. You got to pay for what you heathens did to the nation, even touching the apple of the Lord's eye, which is Israel, man, right? All right, let's jump back, right? Um, yeah, so we're going to jump back. Um, yep, so now let's jump right into it. This is Revelation chapter 13, verse 9. If any man have an ear, let him hear, right? A spiritual ear, right? To hear what's being read, right? Verse 10. He that leadeth into captivity shall go into captivity, right? And who led you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans into captivity, right? And yes, I said you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, right? And yes, we have been through many other captivities by the hands of these heathens, but and our history doesn't start at slavery, right? Because there's people going around saying that, we start our history at slavery because of how much we bring it out. Well, that's just what our people can relate to the most. That is what they remember in most recent history because what their nationality, their heritage was snatched away from them, right? So they really don't know. When we go into all these other captivities that we went in as a people, they can't really correlate that to them because they don't really do history. They don't sit down and actually look these things up and research these things. So yes, we harp on slavery, the transatlantic slave trade, right? We harp on that because it's something that our people can directly refer back to, right? Let me read that again. He that leadeth into captivity shall go into captivity. So who led you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans into captivity? Because slavery didn't just start in the 1600s, right? Because I think that was slavery of the so-called Negroes, West Indians, and Haitians started, in the 1600s, 1611, or 1619, right? But what? It was a thought out plan, right? um, for what happened to happen ever since the late 1400s when this devil touched down on the lands of America, man. right? And committed mass genocide to you so-called natives and you so-called Hispanic tribes, right, who were already here in these lands, right? That was setting up for what would eventually happen in the transatlantic slave trade. That wasn't just a coincidence that those two things happened and occurred in the same land. No, this is punishment from the Heavenly Father, from Yahweh Shema Shai. He just used these heathens to do it, right? Now, going back to the point, Esau, Edom, the so-called white man, spearheaded this thing, right? The so-called, the small hats, the 1948ers, what they financed the slave trade, right? And then what? And these other heathens had their part into it. The so-called Arabs, right? Ishmael had a part with the ships, right? Ham had a part in in helping, the so-called white man, identify the Israelites that was in the land, right? Because what? There's a difference between us, and they know it. Africans didn't sell Africans into slavery, right? Hamites sold Israelites into help sell Israelites into slavery, man. That's what's going on. And just like it read, right? If any man have an ear, let him hear. You have to have that spiritual ear to listen and comprehend and understand what was happening, what was going on, right? The point being, he that leadeth into captivity shall go into captivity. So what? These are these heathens who put us up under subjection, right? And committed mass murder and genocide to our people to put us in the position that we're still in to this day in our captivity, right? They're going to go head first into captivity, right? Again, chiefly the so-called white man Esau Edom, right? He that killeth with the sword must be killed with the sword, right? Speaking about who? Esau Edom. He was blessed with the sword, right? And what? Ever since he made that covenant with himself in Genesis that he was going to what? Slay his brother Jacob, and he has been doing that and some and more, right? To this very day, man. He is. The scripture said that he has had a perpetual hatred, an everlasting hatred, a continual hatred towards his brother Jacob, man. Right? It reads, um, right? He that killeth with the sword must be killed with the sword. Here is the patience and faith of the saints, right? So this is the faith and the patience of the saints. Who are the saints, right? Let's get that real quick. Who are the saints? Here are the saints. This is Psalms 149, 148. Verse 14, he also exalted the horn of his people, the praise of all his saints, even of the children of Israel, a people near unto him, praise ye the Lord. So what? The Israelites are the Lord's people, right? And we are the saints, you Israelites. So this is the faith and the patience of the saints that what? That the Lord is going to come back and avenge us, man. That these prophecies that we're reading about the heathens going to captivity is going to come into fruition. We have faith, we have patience, we have hope. This is our expectation that the Lord is going to make true on His word, man. Right? And the faith and the patience. So we're suffering quietly. We're waiting on the Lord to save us. We're not doing our own thing, man. Right? As a matter of fact, let me get that real quick. We've been patient with it. We're not starting uprisings and doing these things on our own, man. Let me see quietly. This is Lamentations chapter 3 verse 25. The Lord is good unto them that wait for him, to the soul that seeketh him. How do you seek the Lord? Through his men. Right? Verse 26. It is good that a man should both hope and quietly wait for the salvation of the Lord. So we don't have to gird up arms. We don't have to get 100,000 of us together or a big number of us together and march, right? And scream as loud as we can to try to get the attention, right? To try to get attention. No, we are suffering and patiently suffering and quietly waiting for the Lord and His salvation, man. We don't have to go and leave this land and go to Africa and wait for the Lord to come and get us from there. No, He's going to deliver us. We have to have that hope that He's going to deliver us and make true in His word wherever we are, man. Now let's jump back to the point. This is Obadiah 1 and 10. For thy violence against thy brother Jacob, right? Shame shall cover thee, and thou shalt be cut off forever. Who is that talking about? Esau, Edom, the so-called white man. He's going to be cut off forever, right? He's going to be a people no more, right? After 1,000 years of hardcore slavery, right? Along with the rest of these heathens, right? Serving that bondage, serving that slavery. Esau, Edom is going to be put in the bonfire, and burnt to a crisp, and he shall be no more. Thus saith the Lord, man. Right? But these heathens, they're gonna go after they serve their captivity. They're gonna go back in their lands, right? So let's. But we're gonna get further on that further down in Obadiah. But let's jump to Isaiah 14, right? And you can see that shame covering them now. These Edomites trying to take the history out of the law books, trying to cover everything up. You can see that this man, this devil, has been revealed with the things that he's been doing, right? And over the course of his rulership, and all these things are coming to light. And he's ashamed of it. He's trying to hide it. He's trying to scurry and flee and cover up his tracks. But what the Lord said he's going to be revealed, he's going to be revealed, and that's it. This is Isaiah 14:1. And the people shall take them. No, Slacken. This is Isaiah 14:1. The Lord will have mercy on Jacob, right? Jacob being the progenitor of you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, our forefather, right? Whose name was later changed to Israel, right? Because Israel's a people before it's a place. It reads, and will yet choose Israel and set them in their own land, and the strangers shall be joined with them, and they shall cleave to the house of Jacob. Who are those strangers? Talking about the Israelite foreigners, right? Israelites who look like these other nations, but whose seed line goes back to the seed line of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, right? Due to being scattered across all the nations, across the four corners of the earth, right? Due to the curses, right? So those are the strangers, not the natural heathens, but Israelites. It reads on verse 2, and the people shall take them and bring them to their place, and the house of Israel shall possess them in the land of the Lord for servants and handmaids, and they shall take them captives, whose captives they were, and they shall rule over their oppressors. So everybody who has ever had a hand in our downfall, everybody who's ever conspired against us as a true chosen people of the Lord, anybody who has ever put us in captivity or any situation that is beneath us being the greatest people on the face of the earth, they're going to catch that. They're going to be in the kingdom, but they're going to be under subjection. The Israelites under Lord Yahweh Shai's rule, right? We're going to rule, right, in the everlasting kingdom, and these other heathen nations are going to be up under us for servants, right? What does it just read? It read for servants and handmaids, right? So any of these heathens, man, woman, and child, are all going to be up under subjection and serving the Israelites in the kingdom. This is a future prophecy, and it has yet to happen. But it's not a matter of if, it's just a matter of when the Lord is ready to make doom on it. This is Obadiah 1:15. For the day of the Lord is near upon all the heathen, right? It said for the day of the Lord, right? So they're just letting you know that the day of the Lord, right? The day of the Lord's return, the day, the day of the Lord, right? Isn't for everybody, right? Well, it is for everybody, but we're going to read what the day of the Lord entails for the heathen. It reads, verse 15, for the day of the Lord is near upon all the heathen. As thou hast done, it shall be done unto thee. Thy reward shall return upon thy own hand. Right? So what does that mean? Everything that they've done is going to come right back on them. So you ask yourself, right? Have the have the heathens treated the Israelites pleasurably, right? As they've been here on the earth? Right? Of course not. Hell no. They've done an innumerable amount of atrocities towards the Israelites. And how do we know? Because we know through prophecy and through the scriptures that the Lord was going to use the heathens to punish us. But just because the Lord used them doesn't mean that the Lord is going to let them get off scot-free. You know what I'm saying? This is the Lord's movie. This is his show. He's going to do whatsoever he pleases, man. And it pleases the Lord, right, to get for the nation of Israel to get their payback, their recompense on these other nations. So I'm gonna read this on through. It reads, verse 16, for as ye have drunk upon my holy mountain, so shall all the heathen drink continually, yea, they shall drink and they shall swallow down, and they shall be as though they had not been. Right? So what they're gonna drink, they're gonna drink that cup, drink of that cup of slavery, of that cup of captivity, right? Of being ruled over, right? Being upon the subjection upon the Israelites, man. Right? Verse 17, but upon Mount Zion shall be deliverance, and there shall be holiness, and the house of Jacob shall possess their possessions. What is the house of Jacob's possessions? The whole world and everything in it, including these heathens, man. Right? And Mount Zion, right? Israel, there's going to be deliverance. No other nation is going to be delivered unto salvation but Israel. It reads, verse 18, right? It says, it shall possess their possessions. The world was made for our sakes, man. Verse 18, and it reads, "In the house of Jacob shall be a fire, in the house of Joseph a flame," right? And the house of Esau for stubble, right? The house of Jacob and the house of Joseph, meaning what? The two kingdoms, the northern and southern, we're going to be one again, reunited, never to ever be apart again, man. We're going to be on one accord under the Lord Yahweh Shai. And what? And it says the house of Esau for stubble, right? What happens after something gets burned to a crisp? It leaves nothing but stubble, man. It reads, "And they shall kindle in them and devour them, and there shall not be any remaining of the house of Esau, for the Lord hath spoken it." So there is no salvation for Esau. There is no room for a deliverance for Esau, man. There's only room for slavery and a bonfire, man. And then what? They're going to be eradicated off the face of the earth right after they serve the thousand drawn out years of hardcore slavery, right? So that's the recipe for these heathens. This recompense is coming. This payback is coming. And with that, I'm going to close it out. Give them peace.